time for a little Funky Friday. From their funky hidden headquarters, your hosts, Keith and Gary. Not Jerry.
Love that dancing astronaut. It is so cool. It is Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Anyway, trying out some mutton chops. I don't know. They're so gray you can barely see them. You ever had mutton chops, Patrick?
What?
No? I don't know. Keith, you ever had mutton chops?
No.
You're too cool for him. Fuck you. John has reverse mutton chops. No? Have you never had mutton chops?
Nope.
Martine, have you ever had mutton chops?
No.
Stephen, mutton chops ever?
Not that I recall.
Patrick, can you hear me?
You mean for sideburns? Or?
Yeah, the sideburns, mutton chops.
Oh, no.
38 years in law enforcement, never worked in narcotics.
I've never worked in narcotics. Perfect answer. Those guys in narco, they're the ones with the mutton chops.
Great answer.
It is. Oh my God. It's Happy Friday. Despite some of the bad news we got this week, I'm still wanting to wish everybody a happy Friday. Who's all here right now? We got some of the crowd. Penny is here. Andy Morrow. Anima Confusa, love of my life, is here. Who else? Who else is here that hasn't been mentioned? Anybody? Fletcher Williams. I Suck at Games channel. Fletcher, what's up, buddy? He and I have been interacting a lot on Twitter. Let's see. Anybody else? Zach's, of course, got his membership thing. He's not here right now, but we want to thank Zach. He's a cool dude. He's a good friend to this channel and to me personally. I deeply appreciate having him in my life. Well, let's see. The bad news. Let's get out of the way. One, Alan Arkin died.
Yeah.
Alan Arkin, one of the greatest actors of all time. Not the, but one of. I consider him one of the single best, if greatest, comedic actors of his era. And amazingly, he is the co-star of my favorite buddy cop movie ever made, Freebie and the Bean. I know Chief knows that movie.
Well, it's been a long time since I've seen that one.
That is a great freaking movie. That is the father of buddy cop films. And it was one of the early real chase movies because Bullet kind of established how it was done. And then Gone in 60 Seconds did its thing. But it was Bullet that started it. And in as far as feature films go, next was Freebie and the Bean to do massive chase scenes. And it led to one of the single funniest moments in film history where they're arguing because they bicker like a married couple in the car. And Alan Arkin's character accidentally tears James Caan's jacket. And he goes, look what you did. And they're distracted, not paying attention to where they're driving. And then both of them like grab each other and scream instead of trying to steer the car. They just grab each other. Ah! And they go off the overpass into an apartment building right into the side of it. It's the craziest damn scene I've ever seen. It's like, what the hell? I don't want to describe it to you. It is just that scene alone is worth the ticket of admission in seeing that movie, Freebie and the Bean. And it's a movie that wouldn't get made today. It's too free verse with the internal racism, even though most of it's done as personal jabs at each other. It just would not be tolerated today, which we need to change that. Because, man, Mel Brooks said it best, man. It's like, that's humor. Humor is to make you take the ugly stuff and laugh at it. And it's great stuff. Did you like that movie, Patrick?
I liked it. I don't remember completely, but I do want to talk a little bit about the dark humor stuff. I mean, in law enforcement, there's a lot of dark humor, but it
Gallows
is no
humor.
longer acceptable. I mean, not at all. I mean, and now with all the body cams, oh my gosh, so it's
Yeah, you got to be careful. Anything
yeah,
you say
you
now.
have to be very careful. Your private time is no longer a private time. It's everything. Everything is.
I noticed that most law enforcement officers around the country still have the practice of so many seconds before the audio kicks in, and I think
Yeah.
that's a just in case thing.
Well, no. What happens is most of them have it. It's already once you hit the button, it goes back 5 seconds.
Oh, it does.
Yes, so that the anticipation is you can't anticipate when you're going to have to hit the button. So when you do hit it, it actually it's already recorded. It pre-records stuff. So
Because I noticed, like, I watch Donut Operator. He's like one of my favorite channels to watch.
I like him. He's actually pretty.
Oh, he's outstanding.
Pretty
His
fair, yeah.
breakdowns, because he's got both military and law enforcement SWAT background, and he really knows how to break those things down, and he really knows how to break down bad trigger discipline. Because he's good at that trigger discipline. But he is a great channel. The only channel better than his is on Tuesdays on Pop Culture Minefield. Morning Coffee with the Chief. That's the best law enforcement show right now, in my opinion. Humble.
Well, hopefully, we're going to run a rerun on the 4th, right? Because I'm taking the.
Yes, we are running a rerun, giving you the day off, sir.
Okay, I appreciate that. Given that I'm retired and I don't get any pay, I think
I had no idea.
Oh,
you said
I
retired.
could take that day off myself, anyways. The other thing is we're going to do LA Confidential, and I need to tell you about this show the week after the 4th. I guess what would that be, the 11th? I have somebody whose father was on the original Hat Squad. I think I mentioned this before. His grandfather.
You did.
His grandfather. And then his dad was also LAPD, and his dad replaced him on the Hat Squad. And so they have 2 generations of cops who are on. And for those who don't know it, the Hat Squad is also referred to as the Gangster Squad. They would convince gangsters from New York and other places in extrajudicial ways
Leave
to leave
town.
LA and not come back. And
that's where they got the nickname for Mulholland Falls, because they'd take the gangsters and drop them down.
Whoa. Sorry. I need to show this.
He confirmed that all this stuff is true. He's a former Long Beach cop. In fact, I told him I'm from Detroit, right, originally. And he goes, oh, my grandpa told me a story when the Purple Gang, this is this really notorious Jewish gang from Detroit, came to LA and tried to extort money, and him and his partner through that. And his partner was really big. And I'll just say the Purple Gang left with a bunch of bumps and bruises. So they got their extortion lumps, not money, and they left.
Well, I know that. I just forgot his name. Bugsy Siegel left LA because he got too many threats and headed to Vegas, and still found a way to get himself murdered.
Yeah. Well, I think money probably paved the way for him coming back. But, so it's going to be an interesting story because, I met this guy and I go, wow, that opens up movies like, in addition to LA Confidential, Mulholland Falls, the Black Dahlia murder that was going on back then. His grandfather had connections with that. So there's a whole bunch of different shows I can do talking about LA corruption, and vintage LAPD, which is really cool because you see that on the screen a lot.
What was that more recent film that had Sean Penn in it as Meyer Lansky?
Well, was he Meyer Lansky or was he Cohen?
Gangster Squad.
Oh, he was Cohen. He was Cohen.
Corrected,
yeah.
And I forget the name of that movie, but I'll look that one up because that's one we can do as well. And
I thought it was a pretty good film.
It was a good film, and just Josh Brolin, I think they did a movie, Gang Squad or Gangster Squad, I think they called it that,
Yeah.
and he was in it, and I really liked that movie as well.
Yeah, the other film was Mulholland Falls with Nick Nolte, and my problem with that film, you and I talked about it the other day, was that they changed the focus to the atomic bomb and this weird murder plot. It's like, I wanted to see a Gangster Squad movie, and instead you get this film about something else, and it was disappointing. But great cast. Still, I do love the film. It's a period
John
piece.
Malkovich is in that one.
Malkovich plays Oppenheimer, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
No. I think he plays a general that was.
Was that it? Somebody plays Oppenheimer, and I can't remember who it is.
But the other thing, I mean, we all know that a lot of the movies all have some kind of social commentary. Of course, the social commentary in that one is negative towards atomic nuclear weapons. But I do get to talk about. I look forward to that one because I was intrigued by in Detroit where I grew up. We had a thing called the Big Four. So it was big. When you first went along, I probably wouldn't have made a law enforcement. Only 5'11", but you had to be over 6 foot and whatever. And the Big Four would ride around Detroit and take care of business. There was some bar fights. They'd show up and they'd handle it. They weren't a tactical sport. They certainly didn't use the tactical equipment. It was just a lot of rough and tumble type of police work, which was acceptable back then. But that's what reminded me of.
Well, this is going to be the show in not next week, but the following.
It'll be
week.
the 11th, so July.
Yeah, the 11th. Looking forward to that, Patrick. It'll be great. For those of you not tuning in, you need to tune in, sub to the Chief, and watch his shows because they're entertaining, but they're also very engaging because you have great guests on. A lot of them are retired law enforcement, and absolutely, you found this niche of finding that line between entertainment and reality where that line blurs, and I like it.
And education. I mean, you don't really hear the reality.
Ooh, don't tell them you're making them smarter. Don't do that.
Well, it's. I mean, God, the news is making them dumber. Somebody's got to help make.
Someone's got to do it.
I mean, if you listen to the news, I mean, they seem to. It's funny because I'll tell you this one story just because I do tweet a lot, and I obviously I try to correct the media, and this shows you just how dishonest things are. So in LA or California, they passed a law that everything $950 and below is petty theft, right? But in Texas and I think it was North Carolina, it's a higher level. It's like $1,400 or $1,200. And so the LA Times came out and said, we're tougher than Texas on petty theft. Well, what they didn't say, and this is where the dishonesty comes in, and this is why I like doing my show because I get to do things like this, is the editorial board, clearly, research journalists, investigative journalists and all this other stuff. All you have to do is go into Texas Penal Code and North Carolina Penal Code. It took me 5 minutes to find the sections that said, but if you've been convicted of a petty theft, the next one can be a felony, which in California, they got rid of that. So you can steal them blind as long as it's under $950. But in Texas and North Carolina, like, hey, if you do it once and get caught, the second time around, you're getting charged with a felony. So who truly is tougher on petty thefts? Well, not California. So that's the dishonesty that like the LA Times presents, and that it gets presented in a lot of news outlets. And I go back, I do the research. I'll give you an example. So there's another example. I'll let you guys go have fun because I'm being way too serious. But there's this, the Bureau of Justice Statistics puts out how many police contacts they have every year. And the last one they did was 2020, 53 million contacts. And of the force used, only 2% resulted in any force. But even that is a lie because what they say is, well, we define force as any threat of force, or handcuffing is force. So you're thinking, oh my God, 2%. They knocked them down. They punched them. Some rapist gives up without fighting. Handcuff them. They call that force. Somebody's got a gun. You point your gun at him and say, drop the gun or I'll shoot. He drops the gun. You don't shoot. That still counts as force. So when you look at that 2% or that 1.9%, that really is dishonest as well. And that's the kind of stuff that most people don't know and don't understand. They're presenting the data to draw a particular picture. And even with this expanded version of force, 2% of 53 million is actually a pretty small number, right? So that's maybe 2 out of 100. But then when you look at how they define force, you realize they've expanded the definition of force because most people that go to jail actually surrender without fighting. But as soon as you put handcuffs on them, oh, that's force. And of that, so we're talking about 1 million people that we use force on, right? 450,000 of them are are people who were arrested, meaning you put handcuffs on them, and most of those went along without a struggle. So when you look at these stats and you start breaking them down, and that's one of the reasons why I like doing the show, because when I can turn the rocks over on something like that and people can understand, people go, oh, I need, you know what I mean? I wish somebody had told me that, because I had this negative impression, but now that I hear this information, who should I believe, right? That kind of thing.
Right. So, well, I appreciate you being here, Patrick. Look forward to seeing it. You have a good 4th of July. Be safe.
Yeah, have a great 4th, you guys, and let you guys get back to the fun. I'll get out of here, guys. Take care.
Thanks for dropping by, my friend.
Take care, sir.
Cool.
And stepping in for Patrick is Matt Vader.
Hey, I have the weakest beard on
Hey,
the
you
panel now.
shaved!
I did shave the shit out
Well,
of
I did
myself.
too. I made mullets, but they're so gray you can't see them.
Yeah, it's kind of my problem too. Yeah, I decided to. This is the first time I've seen it
You
on
get
camera.
those pretty eyes, though. Look at those eyes. They're so sexy.
Yeah. What's up, guys? How are
Not
we
too
doing?
much, man. God, there's so much to go over.
Oh, Jesus.
I just watched.
I woke up
watched
this morning.
Doomcock and Cameron Pasha,
Oh God.
and then immediately went over and watched the brand new video by WDW.
Yeah,
Pro
I just
Valiant
watched
Renegade
that. It's a good
and
one.
Jonas. And it's
Yeah.
like, this is a lot to take in.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to put their neck out and confirm that she's been fired because it's too dangerous.
I
What we do know is that for certain, her email has been turned off.
oh
It
good.
stopped pinging. Kathleen
Wow.
Kennedy. We also knew the same thing with what's her name that got fired.
So you know
Leslie
how
Headland.
you
Yeah,
guys know
Headland.
how you plan these
must-
shows every day, right? So Kadish is on vacation right now, so it has fallen to me to plan tomorrow's show. So I don't know how to do this. It was like he went through this stuff. That you gotta do this, you gotta do that, you gotta do this, and we gotta find topics and all this kind of stuff.
Talk
So
to Keith.
I'm all
right
ready
here.
to go. I got it all set up, and then this stuff starts happening, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess we probably should do this tomorrow instead of it's just I'm stressed out, man. I'm stressed out. I need. a
Don't
gummy
stress.
bear or
You've got
something. I
this.
don't know what's
Hang out
going
with
on.
us. You got this. But
Yeah, you've
look,
got this.
When Kadish isn't around, go to Keith. Keith will help you organize
Yeah,
things to talk about. He will.
it's okay, man. It's okay. I just it's a lot of work. I gain more respect for that guy every day, and I'm a lazy bastard, and I need to take some of this stuff off his plate. So it's fine. It's fine. My face is not naked, Anima. How dare you? There's fuzz on my face.
Yes, his face is on a thong.
Hey, I wanted to thank you, AF Watcher 88, for the $1.99 super sticker. Rumor, Brendan Fraser may be Pa Kid,
That's cool.
OGD
I can see
season
that.
DCU. Look, I am not going to get excited about a motherfucking thing that James Gunn is doing. I keep telling Keith, look, man, I know you've got a thing for him. I do not. I don't trust him. But I'm hopeful.
He just casted a young version of Henry Cavill.
That's all he did. The kid looks just like him.
Just like him. It's wild. The same jaw and everything. It's crazy.
But he does look the part, and I like what the kid said.
Yeah.
That the kid has always wanted to play Superman, and is looking forward to an opportunity to play a hopeful superhero. Then of course, one of our mutual friends, Matt, posted, something about it and said something about hopeful. I said, "Is that Hollywood hopeful or real world hopeful?"
Good question. Good question.
It's like, I'm not trying to make a dig at our friend. I'm just, because I agreed with him. I think it's great. But at the same time, I don't trust Hollywood. I don't trust Star Wars. I don't trust Lucasfilm anywhere. I watched Indiana Jones last night.
Alex and I are going Monday. We're going Monday night. So I got to I can't stay away from spoilers. I can't. I don't even care that much. Because, but I do have to go see it so I can at least have some context to it. I really did not want to give them my dollars this weekend. I like to give, movies I don't like on the second weekend, so I'm not a stat for the first weekend.
It's usually a good idea to go for the third to fourth week.
Yeah.
Because last night, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Valiant. One of them said incorrectly that they get 50% up front. I say when it comes to Disney Lucasfilm, that's not true. They get pennies to the dollar early on. Lucas established that back with the prequel series. Mm-hmm. And he started screwing the theaters. And that's why theaters rely on their concession sales. Yeah. It isn't until the third to fourth week that they'll start making actual money off of ticket sales. And so a bulk of it goes to the studio distributor first, then after time. And that's why I feel it's safer to do it on the third week. But the way I feel about this is, look, this movie's going to tank. I already saw it was tanking. There's no chance of it succeeding. It's just probably going to be listed as the worst budget to box office ratio in the history of film.
I just hope I'll be able to refer to this movie in the coming years as the Kennedy Killer. Indiana Jones.
I think it is.
And
this
is
the
Curse of the Kennedy Killer. I think
this is a bridge too far.
Here's one thing that really shows the people that are connected to this aren't even as up as they think they need to be on all of this. Everybody keeps talking about the age of Harrison Ford, and that when he first started the role, he was pretty much the same age as Indiana Jones. And that the year of the movie,
right? He was 40. That was 1980. I think he was 40.
Sounds about right. I always thought
hold on. I know how to do the math.
Yeah. You'll have to look that one up. He wasn't as far off, I should say, in age.
Yeah, to the Google, everybody.
But that the character has already been established as to how old the character is because he was born in 1901. Meaning that whatever the year of the film, Indiana Jones is 1 year younger.
He was exactly 40 years old.
Okay. So he was 5 years older than the character when he started playing. So over time, that gap has gotten bigger. Mm-hmm. Okay. And considering his mannerisms
are we talking about his age or are we talking about Marion?
But his physical abilities and everything for this film, to put him in the 60s at the age that they're, supposedly he's supposed to be at, he doesn't act like even someone that's of that same age. He should be in his 50s.
When you watch The Irishman and you see De Niro at 75 trying to play like he's 35, stomping that owner of that shop. He looks like an 80-year-old trying to curb stomp.
He can't bend his knee. Oh God!
Yeah, he's like,
but what I'm getting to,
Harrison Ford did a couple of scenes that I know he did, and I'm like, holy shit, that guy's in good shape.
Yeah.
For the most part, yes, he is. But what I'm saying is that this film, they were so into wanting to have Nazis and everything else. This is a film that should have been in the 1980s. I'm telling you.
I agree. It should have been the 80s. And
it should have been in the 1980s because you could have put a lot more stuff in this film that at least certain younger people today would be able to identify with. And you're a lot closer to the end of the character's life as originally outlined by George Lucas. So to have the tale that they're...
I got to tell you, if you know anything about the activities of the Third Reich after the fall of Germany, there was a lot of activity in the late 50s, early 60s. So that was really a good time to have this story take place because of that. I mean, that's when the Odessa File takes place. I don't know if you know that book or film. John Voight was in the movie version. It's really good. And by the way, I'm going to make the announcement right now on the show live. I don't know if he's in the chat right now, but Glenn Fleming and I are teaming up to do Operation Hound Dog. The story of an SAS and OSS officers who were charged with hunting Adolf Hitler when it was believed he didn't kill himself.
Oh, sweet.
In Berlin. And it takes years for them to find him. And when they do find him, under the guise of a coup that really happened, and this place really exists, that was attacked, to this day, nobody knows what happened to this German stronghold.
Do they find him on that house on that lake in the middle of Brazil or Argentina or whatever it is?
No, the one you're talking about, it's not a lake, it's a river. And what it is that's a plant, a power plant. And the Germans had taken heavy water and were hiding it in Northern Europe. And then suddenly that water disappeared. Heavy water is only used for one thing.
Right.
And it disappeared. And so this is going to be like, I don't know. It's going to be like Alistair McLean level shit.
Sounds
Guns
awesome.
of Navarone, Force 10 from Navarone.
So are you doing the art? Is that what you're doing? Or
I don't know. He and I are writing it together. We may.
Is it like a graphic novel
to
or
Frank
a book?
Fosco, who works with Chuck Dixon.
So it's like a graphic
because he's
novel?
a friend of mine, and I may get him to draw this book while he and I write it.
Right.
We're going to write a graphic novel, and we're going to be writing a novelization.
Is this going to be like a self-published thing?
No, we have a publisher who's interested, and we'll approach him when we're ready. But it's going to be exciting because I've wanted to write a World War II story, and the whole thing is it's called Operation Hound Dog because it's named after the song Hound Dog, but not the Elvis version.
The original version.
The original 1952.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the OSS operator plays it for the SAS commando. And he's like, I love this song. And they said, what do we call this mission? And they both come up with the name Operation Hound Dog because they're going to hound dog the shit out of fucking crowds hiding in South America.
I said that, given the physical abilities of Harrison Ford, to have said it in the 80s, you still could have done a lot of Nazi-related stuff. It's just that it wouldn't have been something where it would not have raised as many eyebrows, and it gives much more of a sense of urgency to the bad guys wanting to bring everything back by having it in the 80s.
Well, because they're all getting older.
That's right. There's much more of a sense of urgency to the entire thing when you do it in the 80s.
I think it would have been that would be the only reason I would do it, because of the sense of urgency. But I'm going to tell you, watching the film, the first act was good.
That's what I keep hearing.
I had problems with some of the CG. There's a moment when I don't want to say what's happening to him, but he falls and he lands on his hands, that his hands looked CG. They didn't look real.
Of course.
Movement didn't look right. But past that, for the most part, it felt like young Indiana Jones. It was fun. And then it got into the modern stuff, 60s. And I did not like Phoebe Weller at all. I couldn't stand her. She even tried to be endearing at moments. And I can't stand her snide face. Just want to punch it.
I heard her mole has a huge role in the film.
The mole? Yes. Mole has... Austin Powers say, mole. Giant Nevis. But the middle of the film, it just meanders like worse than the worst Quentin Tarantino film. And then the last 5 minutes came together in a way that I got emotional. Watching the last 5 minutes, I got emotional.
I'll do that.
It's because I love Harrison Ford and I love Indiana Jones. And I liked, I don't want to give it away. I loved the ending was cute. But I'm like, is it a good sequel? No, it's terrible. It's not a deserving sequel. They should have ended this series with a trilogy. Last Crusade was the last good Indiana Jones film that was done with a story. You need stories.
Yep.
And there's no story here. There's no story in the last one.
Nope.
And they kill off Mutt, his and Marion's son.
Oh, darn.
Died in Vietnam.
Bummer.
How convenient. Well done, Kathleen Kennedy.
And that's the thing. You're taking away any hope that this character has. You're taking away his family, even though, and ironically, that goes against the history of the character as established by George Lucas.
Yep.
I get the whole thing about wanting not to do the eye patch thing, and I see that. Personally, I would have liked to have seen that because the eye patch thing is kind of cool, but that
maybe
at least
they
according
shown him get the eye patch.
Well, so they could have had a cat give him a scratch.
Oh my god, that fucking cat thing still pisses me off.
Well, the other thing is that you also know that he has a daughter, and that she was to have gotten married sometime in the early 80s, late 70s. And I think that KK and her people decided to go a different way. That's the reason why they've completely thrown away all of the George Lucas stuff.
That seems to be Kennedy's thing. We've decided to just go a different way.
A different way.
We're just going to do what we want, not, we're not going to.
And that's what they need to do when they fire her. I know you thought you were going to keep going, Kathleen Kennedy, but we've decided to go a different way.
Look, there's a lot to the character, and there's a symmetry by having him pass away in the year 2001. But I get it. They want to do something different. They want to show him as not being a legendary type character, which is unfortunate. We're going to get Jake Jones is really what we get in this film. And that's beyond sad because you completely just gutted the entirety of what this character is and the lessons that he's learned.
No, I agree, Keith.
Jake Jones and the assassination of Kathleen Kennedy.
Hey, I haven't said hello to our chat. I want to say hi to him right now. We got Penny, Andy Morrow, Anima Confused, Love of My Life, Fletcher Williams, I Suck at Games channel, AF Watcher 88, Orville Nation, War Monkey, Matt Vader, who is also on the show, Raquel SSG 2211. Now that means Staff Sergeant. I don't know what the 2211 means, but SSG means Staff Sergeant. I don't know. Does it mean something else? I don't know. FKH is here, which is, of course,
it's an anime thing.
Tim? Is it Tim? It's Tim. Tim is here. That 70s rock fan, Brian, is here. Everest Productions. I hope you guys caught his last episode with Pop Culture Minefield. Breaks my heart that he's leaving Thursday, but it gives the chance for Keith to steal back his fucking time slot to talk about shit that he wants to talk about. So fuck you, Brian. I'm just kidding. I love you, Brian.
Gonna miss you, buddy.
I am. Well, we're gonna get to have him on other shows. I'm hoping to get more free time to where I can be on his stuff again because I like hanging out with him. Everest Productions is here, and Black Az is here. It seems like I just saw him 2 hours ago. Anyway, the Peter Vinkman fan side, aka Vinkman's Girl, is here. So good morrow to all of you. I hope everybody's having a good Friday. I do want to point out again that this is a rest in peace episode. We do want to send a farewell to not only Alan Arkin, who is a beloved actor, but to our dear friend, Gary McClurg, whom I've worked with. He's a film producer out of Hollywood that just happened to live here in Springfield. Was good friends with Keith, me, all of us. Any creative in this town is friends with Gary. And Gary was one of the funniest dudes. And there's this time, Matt, I got to tell you about. We're at Panera Bread, and we're having this meeting, and he got talking about somebody that we both hate in this town. We just can't stand this guy. And Gary is one of those guys, when he gets excited, he gets that little pockets of white foam in the corners of his mouth. And I'm going to miss this about him. He gets really like animated, and his hands are going, and he's bouncing in his seat, and the foam, and then spittle starts coming out. And I had a habit of eating with my arm over my food when we were together. And he goes, "Why do you do that?" I said, "Because you get really excited and spit a lot."
Yep.
Oh, man,
Wow.
I can't believe he's
that
gone.
sucks. My
He was such a
condolences
great
to you
guy.
guys for your friend. That sucks.
Oh, man. And you'd have liked him. I should have had him on this show. He's been on here once with Keith and I. He jumped on at one of the conventions. But the fact is, I should have had him on more. It pisses me off now because it's too late. You can't do it. You know, it's like, I just thought we'd have him forever, man. He was in great shape.
Well, that's the way life is, though, Gary. I mean, we all really do think that we have a lot more time than we do.
Absolutely. You know? But this is his movie. He was the executive producer on Kill Speed. And so I'm going to play the trailer. Is it showing up? I can't see you guys.
Something
is it on screen? Okay. I'm hitting play. We're going to get claimed. I don't care.
In the scorched desert of Southern California, on the wrong side of the law, a new wave of drug runners is taking it to extreme heights.
John Strager, a leader of a group of young, hotshot airplane pilots known as the Fly Guys. At 300 miles an hour, you can move a hell of a lot of ice across the desert in a hell of a hurry. We just need to catch them doing it. We want you to move both the meth and the money.
What's in it for me besides more cash?
A lot more cash.
Guys, we got company rolling in from the west, hard and fast.
I want Strager and the rest of his punk pilots in handcuffs by sundown.
You do what you got to do to get him back.
You got my friend killed.
Running drugs made it happen.
Kill Speed.
That was our buddy. Produced that.
That's cool.
And
Goldberg. Nice.
It's actually got a good cast. And it's a good film. It's not great. It's just good. It's fun. A lot of good action in it. I mean, it's got like 3 actors in it that I like. So I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, I'll watch it. And he had some other stuff he was working on. In fact, his film he was just prepping for. I don't know if it'll ever get made. But Mac and I co-wrote a script with him called Fangs. And I spoke with his nephew, and he's getting with the sisters, the aunts, and they're going to try to get that script back for me, and I'm going to pitch it out there, see if we can get it made. It's a horror comedy with werewolves. And the comedy in it is pretty whack. Rednecks fighting werewolves. Can't get much better than that.
Yeah, I can't foresee anything going wrong with that one.
No.
Amish versus vampires.
Bruce Campbell was actually talking to him at the time. And things fell through, not because of money, but because of a certain person that we don't want to talk about publicly, who spoiled everything. An effects person we knew. And he was a dick. And I still can't stand it. Fuck it. Ooh. He knows who I'm talking about.
I said Amish versus vampires would be a interesting movie.
Yeah, chase scene would be incredible with the wagons.
Oh yeah.
But goodbye, Gary.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say goodbye, Gary. We're gonna miss you. Alan Arkin passed away, of course, and huge loss. But let's get into some other subjects. One of them being, look, again, WDW Pro and Valiant Renegade were talking about this, and I'm befuddled by this statement. And it is confusing. I talked to Tom about it, Tom Connors. Mm-hmm. He can't understand it either. How can you put a gag order on Ryan Reynolds' right to improvise comedy? That's his one superpower. And you're telling me that in Deadpool 3, he's not allowed to improvise because of the screen actors or screenwriters strike.
Yeah, you'd think they would just.
What's it got to do with screenwriting? Improvisation has nothing to do with screenwriting at all.
Yeah, I don't know how all that
dictating
works.
this.
It's very strange.
I don't get it, because you go back to 2007. Remember when the strike hit television, and all the late night hosts weren't able to do shows. Remember, except for one, Craig Ferguson. Why? Because he improvised every episode. Because you're not breaching a line. You're not stepping over that line. You're not being a scab. Not doing anything to the union. So how is this an infringement? And why is anybody getting that over Ryan Reynolds, the king of improv? This is insane.
Yeah.
How can you have Deadpool without improv?
Well,
you got to shoot the script. This is insanity. I'm saying either somebody's lying.
So is it because the script was written and approved before the strike, so they have to stick with the script?
Yes.
They can't veer from the script at all, or else they get in
That's
trouble?
the part that's ridiculous, because
that's insane.
Improv is not an infringement on the writing. You're not stepping in as a writer. He's improvising. It's different. I don't know who's in charge of this and how this happened, but people should be in the streets rioting over that. That's insane. Having Ryan Reynolds not be able to improvise.
Considering how important this film is and is going to be to the MCU and Marvel Studios. Originally, this film was to have come out in November of next year. Okay? Meaning that with all of the problems between now and the end of the year, it's pretty safe to say that Disney's probably not going to have any more films that are in danger of actually making any money. And it was looking like for a majority of 2024, that was also going to continue to be the problem. So the other day when they started moving stuff all around, they took Deadpool 3 from November and booted it up to make it one of the first films of next year.
Yep.
Okay.
This is out of pure necessity, though.
Yes, they want to make money. You cannot have all this stuff and not make any money. And this is probably the biggest thing they've got. Everybody you know is probably looking forward to this movie in one shape or form, because it's Ryan Reynolds. Yep. And you're going to have Deadpool.
Hugh Jackman's back. With
Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. And then, more information comes out, and you're looking at least 3 members of the cast of the Fox X-Men will be joining Hugh Jackman in this movie. So, really, this is shaping up to be something kind of cool. But now you're hamstrung by the fact that you have a writer's strike going on. And again, Kevin Feige has proven that he likes scrapbooking. Well, you're not going to be doing any of that shooting this movie.
If they don't let him improvise his lines, it's just not going to come off as good.
This is what I said in the thumbnail. I'll say it now. This is Marvel shooting itself in its foot.
Yeah,
several times,
and again and again. Exactly. Because
I feel like they might be kind of hamstring though. If there's like legalese stuff written into these contracts. I'm like I said, I don't know how these things work, so I can't really comment on it. It just seems like they're really hamstringing themselves. It's almost to the point where, like, I would almost want to delay the movie until they get everything worked out before they do that, because you cannot have Deadpool without Ryan Reynolds being Deadpool. He is Deadpool. He has the attitude and he just the way he comes up with this stuff on the fly is what Deadpool is all about. Even in the comic books. Well, I know Ryan Reynolds wasn't around for the comic books. It was like they made the character for him, it's always been that way. So hamstringing him, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good.
It's
also you got to look at all the other movies that are coming. Yeah. You have Captain America 4, which, again, Harrison Ford, I love the dude, but is anybody here really excited to see him in Captain America 4?
Nope.
I mean, is there anything about that movie that has everybody just going, I cannot wait till that film comes out?
Do not care.
Yeah, I didn't even know there was a Captain America 4.
There is a possibility of Red Hulk, so there is that.
Yeah, but I mean, again, it's
like with Chris Evans or what?
No. Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie is playing Captain
Falcon?
America.
He's not.
Yeah.
I'm done.
It's ridiculous. It's not Captain America.
I gotta
It's
go,
silly.
guys. I gotta bail out here. I gotta go to work. So I'm gonna say Falcon sucks. That television show sucked. And I'm just gonna get out of here.
Yeah, Falcon and the Snowman.
Yeah. So
okay, Matt. I'll see you later,
guys.
buddy. Thanks for dropping by.
Bye, Matt.
Bye. Tell Anima my beard will grow back. You know,
She knows.
Just
She
for
understands.
Her. Just for her. It's my summer cut. I had to do something different. So
Roger that. In Vegas, I get it.
Peace out.
All right,
guys.
buddy. Have a good day at work.
All right.
So Mexican Iron Man with a $5 super chat. Indy 5 was a travesty. Not saying I got Wakanda or He-Man rant level mad, but pretty dang close. Shout out to the panel and VIP Vader for the SMP. Absolutely. And you're welcome on here right now if you want to rant about it.
Yeah.
I'll send you an invite.
Well, let me conclude by saying this. Everybody knows how I felt. I was one of the first people to point out that the entire Berlanti verse, as far as I was concerned personally, was a complete bust. And that Legends of Tomorrow was really just all the leftover actors that didn't have shows to go to. They just sort of built something around. Well, that's the way Kevin Feige is doing everything with the Thunderbolts. It's like a big screen Legends of Tomorrow. That's the way they've treated it. And again, for a film that everybody should be excited about, nobody's excited about this. Nobody.
Don't care.
So the further in you go on this, the more Deadpool 3 rises in importance, because it's the most. It is the only MCU film and probably the only Disney film that anybody's looking forward to, and it's already got strikes against it.
I think the other one would be Fantastic Four.
Gotcha, Mikey. Don't worry about it, but you're always welcome here to rant whenever you want to. For your $5 super chat, you get this. Well,
thank you for your cooperation. Good night.
And for the previous one, who was it? Mikey, who's the other one?
AF Watcher 88.
Yeah. Watcher, that was it.
For that, you get the head, the tail, the whole damn thing.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna because we're coming towards the middle of the show. I just felt like playing this because it's funny.
Meanwhile,
we're sojourning.
Hey, good movie, but
hey, by the way, Keith, are you very good at fighting?
At whating again?
Are you good at fighting? Here you go. This is what I think you fight like.
There's a camera on my back.
Wow, thanks, dude. Wow.
Any way to squeeze us in? They make me giggle.
You know what, John? One would think that Fantastic Four's and the announcement of a Fantastic Four movie would have people excited, but given what we have seen from Kevin Feige and all those under him, I am not excited at all for anything they may attempt to do with Fantastic Four.
I want to reiterate this, Keith. Do not care.
In fact, after the announcement from James Gunn, I think more people are more excited about what James Gunn has ahead of him in the immediate future than for anything they have planned to come out for the MCU or any Disney related thing in for the rest of this year and for all of 2024.
Yeah.
So that segues in.
I agree.
Well, look, it's very simple. Kevin Feige outlived his usefulness. He's lost his mojo. I don't think he can get it back. I got to be honest. I really have zero faith in him getting it back. It was almost like a fluke that it worked at all.
Well, it's all the creative people that he had around him. The whole thing with the success of the MCU, was that it was a balance between a producer that at least was smart enough to know that you have all this talent who can come in and make these movies, and all of them just happen to have been fans of the source material.
With the Russo brothers leaving, the minute they left, it was gone.
Yeah, because he kept going after people who were not fans of the source material. He loaded up on a bunch of people who were easier to control, easier to deal with, and people who weren't as difficult as far as being able to plot out what to do next, because they weren't inhibited by what they thought of the source material, having grown up with it and all of that. I kind of see that up to a certain point. But the thing is that which he thought was a problem was really that magic ingredient that helped all of that be successful. And that's the reason why you can get, like they reported in the Hollywood Reporter, that they no longer will hire anyone that is a fan of the source material for any of the Marvel films. This is not a coincidence. This is not even rocket science, kids. You need comic book readers and fans that happen to be professionals in the industry to make this stuff with Kevin Feige. That's the way that works. It's not that hard. It's a simple formula. And Kevin Feige, for whatever reason, isn't going to follow it anymore. And this is the reason why Bob
that video you sent me, because I wanted to play that video of that dude, the director from Secret Invasions, being, basically saying, not using source material to take a more fresh look at these characters and focus on the characters from the movies.
Yeah.
And, go that direction with them and don't pay attention to the comics. And it's like, that is why you fail.
Every single time. This is what killed Fox's X-Men franchise. Because you started to get people in there that just didn't care. And the one director that everybody liked a lot, because he, quote unquote, did a really good job with X-Men First Class, is one of the worst people to have ever had that job as far as being able to follow comics, and also was a massive troll to the fans. He really was like, he was very much someone that just, he did not appreciate any of the fans who had a contrarian view of some of the things that were in the films. And that's the real reason why he never was allowed to do anything for DC, because he was kind of toxic at that point. And so when he got interviewed about how he would bring Superman back, I was seemingly one of the few people that said, screw that guy. I don't care what he thinks. He's a decent enough filmmaker, but his ego is way too out there. And in many respects, he's about as bad, if not slightly worse than Rian Johnson.
I don't think that's possible. I just
trust me. He was that bad.
I've told you 1 billion, maybe 1.5 billion times to not exaggerate.
It's hard for me to believe that Matthew Vaughn is actually worse than Ruin Johnson.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
Here you go. Here's that video.
Took on this job as director. I didn't write the script, so a lot of those decisions were made by Kyle Bradstreet and the other team of writers that we had. The first thing I was told is don't read the comics. It had nothing to do with what we're trying to do here. I think this story was really born out of the electricity created between Sam Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn, or Nick Fury and Talos in Captain Marvel.
There you go.
Again, this is one of the reasons why X-Men, the first X-Men film, why Hugh Jackman became a breakout star, because he was the only member of the cast that broke the rule about not reading the comics. That's the same rule they had for Fox. So now you've got them implementing that rule now, starting with Phase 4.
And who was it? One of the people that slipped Hugh Jackman the comics?
Kevin Feige, of course.
And now Kevin Feige's in charge and allowing that rule.
Yeah.
Think about it. He's lost his mojo, man. Any mojo he had is gone. When he let the Russos go, it all ended. It's been crap since.
Well, the Russos had to go because they were stopping Kevin from killing the rest of the original Avengers, which was Kevin's plan. He wasn't just gonna kill off Tony. He was gonna kill Captain America, Hulk, Hawkeye. He was gonna let the rest of them die too.
Because he wanted to get away from paying that percentage.
That's right. He wanted, everybody that still had contracts, he wanted to get them out of their contracts. Offload them.
Yeah. But anyway, we've got to run real quick to our commercial. We will be right back. Let's get into that. No commercial there. So let me go back and play this. Hi, guys. This is Gary from Pop Culture Minefield here on KGRA, and we're leaving for our first break. I hope we survive.
Did you know 75% of Americans are chronically dehydrated? If you struggle with focus, run low on energy, or when it's time to finally sleep, you simply can't, this can all be linked to dehydration, and Fuel Up has the answer. Our proprietary formula contains the finest cellular hydration with the strongest immune-enhancing natural ingredients. The Fuel Up system is made up of 3 different incredibly tasting varieties. Wake kickstarts your day with a jolt of caffeine. Play boosts focus while hydrating your cells. Rest not only helps you relax, but also rejuvenates your cells while you sleep. Here's what our clients have to say.
I really don't miss my coffee, and you can tell the difference.
So I'm going to take it for the energy. I'm going to take it for the play. I'm going to take it, all day.
And it works. That's the thing. It works. We love it.
Take the Fuel Up Challenge now, where we offer a Feel the Difference money-back guarantee. Fuel Up for life.
Hey members, the new KGRA DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA DB.
Oh wow, we survived! Welcome back to the commercial break. Now for some more Pop Culture Minefield on KGRA.
So we're back. Okay. It's a good cop, mentally handicapped cop. Okay. It's a Family Guy gag. I don't know if anybody remembers that. So it was crippled cop and mentally handicapped cop. So did you have like a pencil or something? Oh man, Indiana Jones 5 is. Oh, I can't say that word. Shit. Let's get into Marvel shooting itself in the foot again and again and again and again and again. Let's get into this problem, because that director that I just showed you the video of is one of the directors from Invasion. And this is the problem. This is one of the seminal comics that they have promised and talked about for a long time of adapting. And what they're doing is not adapting it. They're nitpicking elements, and then they're telling the writers and the directors not to read the comics. And this is a problem because they're leaving a lot on the floor. And I enjoyed the first episode. I watched it. I enjoyed it. But immediately also noticed a lot of stuff was wrong.
Yeah.
And it was just off from the get-go. And I could tell right from the get-go, true fans are going to have a problem with this show.
Yeah.
And I'm already hearing all the complaints. And I'm like, yep, pegged it. Knew it was happening.
Again, if you really want to know how bad things are going to get, just keep paying attention for the rest of this year. Keep your eyes on the MCU from now to the end of the year and look at all of the stuff that's coming.
Loki looks terrible.
Oh, jeez. The Marvels. I mean, that film.
That looks bad.
That film will be lucky to make enough at the box office to be able to afford popcorn. I mean,
Ms. Marvel was good. And the shocking thing there is I don't think they intended it to be good. I think they intended to do something and it didn't work. They accidentally subverted themselves and in doing so made it good.
Yeah,
and
well,
it was purely accidental.
Yeah, not enough normies watched that or anything else on Disney Plus. So as far as they're concerned, they barely know who Captain Marvel and Brie Larson are, and the other two are just two people that they have no idea who they are. So the chances of this film, The Marvels, technically what originally was meant to be Captain Marvel 2, I don't think it's really going to have a shot of making $1 billion.
No, because it's the sequel to it's not a sequel to Captain Marvel. It's a sequel to a TV show that barely anybody saw. I mean, that's
two
the
TV
problem.
shows.
Yeah,
two TV shows.
Okay, but that's the problem that Doctor Strange had. It's not a sequel to Doctor Strange. It was a sequel to WandaVision.
Yep.
And nobody's going to want to do the homework.
No. But on top of that, all of that stuff was weak. Look, WandaVision was really good out of the box. It was good. But outside of Wanda and Vision, they've not really done too much else with any of the other characters there. But you had to have been someone that, watched the show, probably enjoyed it, to at least have gotten Agatha out of it, of which Agatha Harkness is on the way. And also the other Ms. Marvel, who was introduced in reintroduced, I should say, in WandaVision. So you have that. You have.
Are you talking about Rambo?
Yeah, Monica Rambeau.
Yeah.
She was Captain Marvel when I was first reading Avengers, so I've got a soft spot for her.
And again, if she were written really well, if the scripts were actually any good, she would definitely be the breakout star. But that entire endeavor just looks tired. It just looks tired, and the movie hadn't even come out yet. And nobody's actually seen anything with Agatha Harkness. But again, if you did not watch WandaVision, why are you going to pay any real attention to that? Again, Loki, that's a big old fashioned, and this is all going into the rest of the year. That'll eventually bring us all the way around and to Deadpool 3. And if Deadpool 3 doesn't do very well, I mean, talk about pressure. This film not only has to be good, they need this film to be a monster hit. Not just because they needed to pay off all the bills. They need it because it needs to emotionally carry really all of Marvel Studios' hopes from there on in. If that film is huge, that'll be a nice bump up for everything that follows it. So there is a lot riding on that movie. And I don't think they've got it. Mainly because, I think fans, especially people like us, we feel like we've been abused by Kevin Feige and Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
You pay good money to go to the theater. Gas, to buy the tickets, all the food. Every single time you've gone to the theater in the last year and not walked out of there having seen something that truly entertained you and that was good, worth your time, that's a strike against Marvel Studios. So now, you're left pretty much with something that you put a lot more pressure on than what there needs to be. We should be all excited about Deadpool 3 and about, what could possibly be going on to have all of the X-Men in that film. Now, remember, this is not going to be the official MCU X-Men for this movie. They have found another way of delaying that some more. And that's also starting to get tiring. Fans are not going to continue to wait forever. And this whole dragging your feet on trying to get this stuff out there. I can't think of anything else that screams emergency right now, all hands on deck, than the box office. Because Marvel really hasn't made that much money off of anything since the beginning of Phase 4.
Nope. The only movie that's made money was made by Sony.
Yeah. So, this is what Bob Chapek was trying to do. Bob Chapek was wanting to spend time and hoping to guide Marvel back to the light, back to being profitable. He had given up on Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm. He was just going to let them fall. So what's going on this weekend with Indiana Jones, that was always going to happen. If Chapek had stayed, this was always going to happen. The difference is what would have happened with all of the Marvel films. And Chapek would have found a way of helping Kevin Feige figure out what to do. And as of right now, there's nobody doing anything besides Kevin Feige and whatever other jobs he thinks are more important than running Marvel Studios. I mean, seriously, are the comics important? No. And it doesn't seem like there's anybody in charge of the Disney Plus stuff.
No, I agree with you. By the way, we got some more people who jumped in. We got Kingsport Cal is here. Let's see. Mikey, the Comic Relief Crusader, is here. And Parrothead is here. Yeah, we got some more people watching the show. I think some opinion out there too, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that?
Well, let's get to some of those.
Well, I was just looking at Comic Relief Crusader said we're probably getting young Avengers.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure. If the money continues to be an issue, look, Disney has money problems, whether they want to freely admit it or not. There's a lot of stuff that they've planned out there that they may never really get around to, no matter how much planning they've done. Because look at it this way. 2 years ago, Kevin Feige had a plan for how Phase 4 was to go, how Phase 5, and into Phase 6.
I'm sorry, D-Bud Martin D. Bud Martin didn't hear his name, so he's like, I'm here too. I'm working and lurking.
So that plan got altered. The very fact that we are now on phase 5 right now shows that plans can change. And I know that there are a lot of you out there that would love to see Young Avengers, but I'm telling you right now, I would hold off.
Not under this crew. Not under this
not under this crew.
Remember,
you know,
remember when they said that we apologize for phase 4. Phase 5 is going to be much better. And this was announced by the exact same team that was overseeing phase 4. Look, you and I laughed so hard at that. It's like, what?
Go ahead.
It's like that scene in Ed Wood when he's on the phone to the producers and his movie's just tanked, and he's like, "Well, the next one will be better." Hello, hello.
It's again. This is just. I want them to be good. I do. I and all the rest of the people in part of the show, we all really enjoyed phases 1 through 3. And there's really no reason why they should be this bad right now. That's what really I'm having a hard time with. There is absolutely no reason why this should be this bad now. Make whatever deals you got to make. I mean, if you're willing to try to get Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans back, you should be just as willing to go after a lot of the creative people behind the scenes that help get all of that stuff up and running. Look, I'm not saying that Joss Whedon doesn't have some problems, but given the financial emergency that Disney's in, call Joss Whedon's butt up. Get him in here.
Oh, geez, this mic is here.
Oh, yeah, you're fucking right in here. Sorry.
Angry Canadian.
Fuck!
Howdy.
How's it going, man?
Hey.
Dear God, what a friggin' dumpster fire Indy is. Sweet mamma jammas.
Yeah, that first opening act, the scene, was the best part of the whole movie.
That's it. That's all.
And then it goes off the rails and meanders, and then it comes back for an amazing 5 minutes at the end.
That's about it.
Because when you get that scene back at his apartment, I loved that scene.
Yeah, but it's like it didn't even know how to end. I mean, it ended, but it's like, we're just going to leave it at this. I don't know. That's just me. Whatever.
Well, first of all, you didn't have a story.
No,
there's no real story here.
It's all cobbled together. But going back to the Marvel thing, there was a post on Reddit, and I know Reddit's like the friggin' Tumblr for retards. But there was an interesting post where there was a Reddit user that apparently came across a little bit of inside information, so to speak. Okay, now take this with a grain of salt, but apparently it's a leaked description of the Marvel's post-credit scenes. Okay, and this is where I was going, that we might be getting Young Avengers, because this person was going on, and I'm going to read it here. Verbatim, if my old eyes can actually focus long enough. Okay. What was it? Post-credit scene 2? Was it post-credit scene 2? Yeah, okay. So basically, in an homage to the opening of Miss Marvel, the Marvel starts with Kamala narrating the events of the movie. Okay. But this time around, it wasn't for a YouTube video of hers, because, in the series she makes these YouTube videos, but in a similar manner with Iron Man 3. The Marvel's last post-credit scenes allegedly reveals that Kamala Harris was actually narrating the events of the movie to someone else, and that person is Kate Bishop, who is new Hawkeye. Now, apparently, Haley Stanfield makes a cameo in the scene in her full Hawkeye suit gear, and Kamala recounts her latest adventure in the Marvels, right? At the end, Kamala says that there's more young heroes like them and they should all team up. Ending the scene asking Kate, did you know Ant-Man has a daughter? And this might be teaming the eventual formation of the Young Avengers. Because like I mentioned in the chat, well, you got Scar that was introduced. Oh, this is my son, right? At the end of She-Hulk. And then, of course, you have Stature, which is Ant-Man's daughter. And then, of course, you have, like I mentioned in this chat, you got, Miss Hawkeye, this new Black Panther, Ironheart, you got America Chavez, and of course, Miss Marvel. So it would not surprise me how Marvel is bungling things up. That
the MCU it's all female, right? I got you.
Yeah.
And don't forget, Patriot was introduced in the Hawkeye, or not the Hawkeye series, but the Falcon series.
Yeah. And who's going to lead them but new Captain America to show them the way?
Yeah.
It's pretty painful.
Lord, no.
Now, like I said before, take it with a grain of salt. I don't know if this actual posting credits is actually going to make it, but meh.
Yeah. Well, and again,
surprised.
considering how long it's taken to get all this together, just for Young Avengers, all these kids are going to be basically adults by the time they even get before the cameras, if it goes before the cameras.
Yep.
And it again, Robert Meyer Burnett was right. They should just go ahead and call it. They should just go ahead and scrap all of the movies that they have planned that they haven't started filming yet. Once the writer's strike is over, do Secret Wars, wrap it all up, close the whole thing down, wait about 4 or 5 years, and just start again.
Yep. And it looks like Loki season 2 is going to tie in with Deadpool 3.
And basically, Kevin Feige pulls a Sam Elliott from 1883.
Yeah, because it's reported that what's his face, that plays the agent alongside Loki there in the suit.
Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson. Yeah, and apparently Miss Minutes is going to be showing up in Deadpool 3.
Wow.
So to continue on with the whole multiverse thing, you're going to probably see a whole bunch of Deadpools, and probably, seeing how Hugh Jackman is in it as well, a whole bunch of Wolverines.
Well, not just Wolverines. We're going to get a whole bunch of Storms.
Yep.
We're going to get a whole bunch of Cyclopses.
And more than likely, this is probably how they're going to introduce the mutants into the Marvel Universe.
May I be killed? Could somebody just kill me, please?
No, you have to suffer with the rest of us.
Yeah.
All right.
Only if you live in Canada.
Don't make me break out that hat.
The smoke will get me first.
Given how much money has already been wasted, truly wasted, I just think R&B's emergency procedure plan is the best way to go. It'll save money. It'll save patience. Anybody out there that's still some kind of an MCU fan will still be an MCU fan. They'll just have to wait a bit. And maybe we have a moratorium on all the Disney Plus shows. I mean, this is not getting better, kids. It's not.
This is it. Now with Indy 5 that's out now, that's it. You've destroyed pretty much every property that we've held dear for many, many years. There's nothing else left to destroy, basically.
Well,
right?
there is, but I'm not going to repeat it because that might give them an idea. Disney actually has 2 or 3 things that they can do.
Probably.
No, they do. They They got Predator. They got the Aliens. They have Buffy. They have all of the Joss Whedon stuff. So they got the Buffyverse.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Joss Whedon, we've already heard that they've greenlit a reboot of Firefly.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They even have Firefly. So, haha,
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about the how should I call it? The mainstream legacy, IPs that have been out there: Star Wars, Star Trek, anything Marvel, yada yada yada. The big names, right?
Yeah.
That's it. You pretty much destroyed it all. Now it's time to work on the littler things.
If they were smart, they'd bring back Song of the South. That'll really make a lot of money.
Bring back Blazing Saddles.
Oh,
it's funny. Looper, or whatever that channel is, they were calling it like a racist film, and I put that in the comments. I'm like, have you ever even seen the movie? How the fuck do you know? Oh, somebody else told you.
That's the thing is, they're going off of what other people are saying, and they're listening to people who don't watch this stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like the prisoners have taken over the asylum.
It's happened long ago.
I had a lady that came in yesterday, and she came in with like 2 big boxes full of like old Disney movies and stuff like that. And she and her
Thank
husband,
God, I was afraid you were going to say armpit hair.
Maybe. I didn't look. But her and her husband have stock in Disney. And I said, so have you checked out a lot of the new Disney live action movies that come out? And she's like, they're crap. They're selling their stock. They've had enough with Disney, and they brought in all their old Disney video cassettes and stuff like that to preserve them to show to their granddaughters, because they won't show them the new stuff. That's it. Forget it. Done. Disney is beyond tanking at this point. $88 a share? Come on.
If they would just institute a moratorium on spending over $100 million for any upcoming films, and just go, just do what Todd Phillips did with Joker, and just institute, let's start making some films that are 50 million, 60, 70 million, something that you'd have at least a shot of making some money on.
I think this is the problem, though. Because what was the last big writer strike? That was like around 2009?
2007.
Yeah.
07.
So, what did Hollywood do? Well, basically, they wanted to get in writers that, wanted a job and worked for cheap. And then this is the mess that we're now in. We're getting crappy writing in every property that we're seeing out there now. Now we have another writer's strike. It's like, okay, who can we get to write to us that's probably going to write cheaper than the current guys right now? And it's just probably going to get worse and worse and worse. But that's
going cheaper is the problem. Robert Meyer Burnett said that one of the ways that they could really solve a lot of these problems is go ahead and turn around and actually front load the payments to all the writers. Just pay them a big, solid amount, but get rid of the whole residual thing.
But they don't want to, because
they don't.
Already losing so much money. They're trying to hang on to whatever dollars they have left. They're not willing to pay out now because they're losing so much. So they're in a catch-22, right? Do we dare spend money on quality actors and quality writers in the hopes that maybe it might make us money? Or is our name so damaged right now that we're probably not going to turn a profit as it is anyway, even if we do hire quality artists and writers?
There is something, if they're really going to continue down this road that they started with Robin Williams' Flubber in remaking older properties that they already own.
Yeah.
Why not just go with a Disney Plus science fiction horror series that you could do for 8 episodes, maybe even 10 episodes, and just remake The Black Hole?
Yeah.
Make it very atmospheric. You bring in some a director that knows how to do solid horror.
I'd watch that.
Yeah, and you do a solid space science fiction horror film.
Yeah.
and you do that for about 8 to 10 episodes, and then here's the twist: instead of putting it on Disney Plus, you put it on Amazon or you put it on Netflix.
It might work. I don't know. Is anybody going to watch at that point? Knowing that.
Hey,
here's the thing. A lot of people probably aren't going to, because they're just going to assume, well, you know what? Everything else is tanked. Everything else is crap. Why should I even bother watching this at this point?
Well, that's the reason why you don't put it on Disney Plus. You put it on another service. Like Amazon would really advertise that. Look, they have more money than just about anybody else, so they would advertise the heck out of that. If you play down the fact that it's Disney and play up the fact that it's a science fiction horror film, horror miniseries, I think you get a lot more people, because trying to stuff something into 2 hours. I think the black hole's not even 2 hours. I think it's less than 2 hours. If you just had it be something over the course of 8 to 10 episodes and really just dive deep into the characters and the atmosphere, and find someone who is really good at set design to design a new version of the Nostromo that oh God, that would be so much. See, I've talked myself right into that now. But I mean, that's just one of the properties they own. I mean, again, I would like to see them take a shot at doing a John Carter series. Because all the books and everything,
they still have the rights to it.
You could do what they did with Reacher and have each book be a full season of the show. And if you put it on Disney Plus, then it's what? I'd make it an 8 episode a season. So that way, go ahead.
I'll say I'm pretty sure that that John Carter's in public domain now.
Oh yeah. But I wouldn't mention that too much, because given the way some of these writers are, they would use that as a way of just, going off book, off script. We don't need any more of that. What we need are people that are actually going to pay attention to the source material and actually make something exciting. Given the technology that we have right now, think of what you could do with a John Carter series, where each season of the show is based on each book that Burroughs wrote.
No, I think it'll be a good idea. Darius Munchausen with the $1.49 super sticker. Wait a minute. It's afternoon. It can't be coffee. Apparently, what did he put up?
$1.49. I bet it's popcorn.
Oh, popcorn. Yeah, and I apologize. Mike is, Comic Relief Crusader was having some trouble with his audio, and it was picking up your voice and doing some weird stuff with it, Keith, to where it's garbling and doing some echo behind you. So I had to mute him.
Okay.
But anyway, Darius Munchausen with the popcorn super sticker. Thank you very much, sir. For you, you get this one. This is just for you, Darius.
You pompous, stuck-up, snot-nosed, English, giant, twerp, scumbag, fuckface, dickhead.
Stop that. It's silly.
As I alluded to earlier, with all the stuff going on at Marvel, that really does lead people to feel at least a little good about what DC is attempting to do. And given what they've announced and what James Gunn is looking forward to, I think there might be some bright spots. Now, could they still find a way of messing that up? Of course, it's Hollywood. It's current day Hollywood. There's always the opportunity to mess it up. But for right now, everybody feels good about the big news that they had.
I'm sorry, this just cracked me up. If history is any guide, Disney's Black Hole would star Liam Neeson as the plucky young hero, and Meryl Streep is Julia Roberts. The TGI Vincent.
Shoot it! Funny. I'm in.
I am a big fan of Black Hole. I thought it was a good film.
I bet you are.
I was going to suggest the Black Cauldron because I'm a big fan of that, but I think I'm the only one here.
No, you're not. But I mean, would you do it animated or would you do it live action?
Oh, you got to do it live action.
There's munches and crunches in here somewhere. I'm Gertie.
No, I'm a big fan of that movie. Are you kidding me?
I would do it live action, but I'd do it as a series.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, in the shadow of really everything they've done with Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon and all that stuff, it would be very tempting to have it as a series. But that would mean that you'd have to bring your A game. Disney would have to step up. You can't just do that half A. You have to step up.
The way Disney is falling right now at this current moment, I don't think they can step up to anything besides payroll.
By the way, Stephen, I'm glad you're here. There's a question. It's been perplexing Keith and I.
He's black,
and
yes.
WDW Pro is the one who talked about this. The gag on Ryan Reynolds not being allowed to improvise. Who said that to him? Do you know?
Not yet, but I can certainly.
Please do, because I tagged both WDW Pro and Valiant Renegade. I'm like, who gave that order, and why does it exist? Because improvising it's not a breach of agreement with screenwriters. It's not. It has nothing to do with it.
It sounds kind of odd. Yeah, I'll
it makes no sense. Because if you remember, back in 2007, because we brought it up now twice on the show, in 2007, the screenwriters strike, the only late night talk show that kept going was Craig Ferguson because he improvised everything.
Well, him and Jeff were a great team. That's why it went so well. And that's even though, everything, even when there was leaks in the roof, they improvised that. And they said, we need more money, but we get no money.
Yeah, we get no money. That whole thing was hilarious.
Yeah, and he was standing there doing improv at his monologue, and they had a bucket right beside him because it was leaking right beside where he did monologue. So he made it the
You were right there with me watching this show. I can tell.
I've been watching because I need
on YouTube, I watch all the stuff they have on YouTube in particular. But I got to tell you,
Indiana Jones is so cute right now.
It makes no sense why he would be told that.
Well, look where it's coming from. It's a subsidiary of Fox and also a subsidiary of Disney. And if they are trying to keep it within the guidelines of Disney family etiquette, which their family etiquette guidelines are, I don't know where fentanyl falls in this category, but it makes no sense. I think they're more terrified that Ryan might do something that might make the company look worse than it already is. I think they're trying to save face without putting it in ammo.
I think probably because maybe in the first.
You sound under a well.
Yeah, you sound really distant, dude.
Oh wow, maybe I'll just get closer then.
No, it's terrible. Oh, it's terrible, Mike. I'm sorry, buddy.
It's not bad. You might just unplug it and replug it back in.
Plug it back in.
No, I'm using my phone.
That's what she says.
Damn it.
Okay. Can we talk about how awesome Indy is, though?
He pokes fun at Disney so many times that probably this might be it.
So, in other words, you think they're punishing him for poking fun at Disney from the past?
Okay. Probably. Yeah.
There's always that.
I think if this is true, they're messing up because Deadpool is going to be the only thing that will save them any money next to Guardians, because Guardians is their only giveaway. Nothing else is working, and Indy is horrifying. It is horrifyingly. It is the Kathleen Kennedy fade out syndrome. It's Han Solo all over again. It's
and the guy that made Guardians is now in charge of the other company.
Look, as much as people are crapping on it, I'm gonna wait till I see a first trailer with Superman and stuff like that, shit like that. But honestly, when I looked at the one picture they used for the announcement, I saw a young Dean Cain in him, and I did.
Look, he looks well. He also looks like he's what do you call it? One of those unknown children of movie stars. He looks like Henry Cavill's lost child.
Yeah,
love child.
Yeah, love child. That's the word I'm looking for. By the way, Tim says Speak up. What did he say? Blessed all the cheesemakers. He's talking about Mike.
Sorry, I've been working. So what have you guys been covering pretty much?
Well, we talked about one, Alan Arkin died. And then, of course,
shit.
Keith and my friend, Gary McClurg passed away. He's a movie producer, buddy of ours. And they both died this week. And then we talked a little bit about Indy. We talked about Kathleen Kennedy. We talked about Marvel constantly shooting itself in the foot with everything it does, making bad decisions. We talked about like one of those things is how they keep what just happened.
He's probably resetting his mic and audio.
Oh, so one of the things we talked about is like how the director, because I played the video of one of the directors from Secret Invasion admitting that they were told not to read the comics, that the writers we know have been told not. If you're a fan of the comics, they're not going to hire you. That's what they've said for the writers.
See, that's it right there, that we're seeing a common trend with everything. It all stems back to one thing, and it seems to be the narrative within the camp, whether it's KK or Feige. There's no source material. There's no EU. Do not look at the source material. And I think trying to rebuild a universe, especially with Marvel Comics that's been around for decades, or however long you want to look at it, that is a, what do you call it, a recipe for failure. And now we're seeing Disney cooking failure. It's nothing but failure. Name one thing that you've been excited about. I watched one episode of Secret Invasion, and I'm like, no, there's nothing left. There's nothing left. And if you guys are enjoying it, cool. I'm not a negative Nancy. I'm not doing hate clicks right now. I'm telling you honestly. To me,
well, I watched it and I enjoyed it. The first episode,
really.
But the minute I watched it, though, I was quite aware this is way off the reservation.
Yeah, it's not that they don't know what they're doing. They have templates all over in comics, and everyone's being told not to look at it. That's like saying, hey, I'm going to work at a 5-star restaurant, but I'm not going to follow any of the previous chef's recipes.
Yeah.
Do you think you're going to have anyone stick around to that restaurant?
No, of course
no.
not.
You're going to turn McDonald's into a fine dining cuisine, and that's saying a lot because that's what we're seeing now.
Yeah,
it's
another thing Demolition Man got right.
There's not even seashells that can fix that mess now, though. Deleted. There's nothing. And I hate sounding like a downer, right? But it's just, I watched Last Crusade a couple of days ago, loved it. Watched Indy last night. I was like, all right, first 20 minutes are not bad.
That's
and
it.
And Mr. Ed opened her mouth. And after Mr. Ed opened her mouth, sorry, I mean Phoebe, my bad. I didn't mean to insult Mr. Ed. It just went into, there's no imagination. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to hurt anyone.
Well, there's no story. That's the problem with films. It lacks a story, a cohesive story.
They changed the timeline.
First 20 minutes, great. I really enjoyed that. Then the rest of the film happens, and it's just a bunch of mess of stuff that happens all the way until the very last 5 minutes, and then bam, that last 5 minutes I loved.
Yeah, but they made her look like crap. But okay, we're not doing spoilers on this, right? Because I don't want to ruin it for anyone. Right?
I don't want to ruin for anybody.
All right, can I say this though, Derek, and ask anyone else who's seen this? Didn't they break the #1 time travel rule? The #1. Look at Butterfly Effect as a prime example. Look at Back to the Future. Look at any time travel thing in general. And what is the one rule you don't break?
You don't change your past.
Thank you. You don't leave your past there either. But I don't mean to be a rule, but it's just like, yeah, if you enjoy it, go see it. But like, it's
I don't think anything was really badly done with time, because if they were to really do something bad, that would be go to Vietnam and save Mutt from being killed in combat.
I do love your new office, though.
You have a new office.
No, your new office, because you sound looking like you're in a different alcove.
No, it's just the dining room.
Oh, okay, yeah. But on that, like, yeah, give it a shot. But honestly, it's not. It's not a Last Crusade, and it's not a Temple of Doom, and it's maybe I'm just old, and it's not. I'm not supposed to depress anyone, but
I mean, or maybe we're not, because I keep saying the same thing to myself. Maybe it's just because I'm getting older. No, it's not because we're getting older. It's because they're writing shit.
Yeah.
It's not us that's the problem. It's the quality of what they're making that has gone down.
Harrison
No,
Ford.
it's absolutely, because this is what Keith and I have been bitching about for years, is the writing quality going down and down. And I know we have one friend who likes to make the argument that Star Trek is good. It is not good. It's written badly. Here's the funny part. 2 episodes out of an entire season 1 were good of Strange New Worlds. 2 episodes. That is not enough to build an entire new season off of, and that's all they're doing in season 2 is doing the bad stories. They're going with all the bad ideas.
I will give credit. Harrison Ford's acting was primo variant, was really good. Even though how they
did the
wrote
fight scenes really well. Even
with how they wrote him. Whoever made that fart noise, you know what I'm talking about. Thank you. John Williams' music was really good. And there was John trying to be funny. Thank you, John. You actually were funny. I smirked. Thank you. It's been a while. Yeah, cute. But that's about it. I found. I don't know. I hate it because I can't tell if I'm the one being jaded, or it's the foundation of what we've all experienced throughout our life that made these people role models, made these people icons, taught us lessons, shared it memories with families. If that is being soured because they don't know what family interaction is when it comes to going to movie night, and it's supposed to be an adventure, not just watching the film, but it's an adventure getting your tickets, adventure getting the popcorn, going out for dinner, buying the toys after, sharing moments with anyone you go see these films with. And these films aren't doing that anymore. It's the emotional investment that it is not there.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to kill the show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm also Canadian, and Canada doesn't exist. All right, so I'll throw that up there.
By the way, I want to welcome Snortopoopas Cuba is here. What is that, buddy?
Now, to go back to what Steven's saying, is he's got a point. You walk into a movie like a Top Gun Maverick, or you watch something like this year with a Sisu. You know, they feel different. They feel like actual movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a difference, you know, and I keep hating to say actual movies, but that's what they are. They feel like the movies that we used to go and see as kids, or sneak in to go see as kids in like a movie Caesar's case. But you know, they just hit different.
Yeah.
You know, and then they're not preaching at us either.
That's what I was going to point out.
That's the main thing.
Nowadays, most movies have to have a moral, something. You know, they've got to preach at you about something in their plan, and you know that they can't write a good story when they're doing that.
Well, John, what you're describing is we've all had throughout the film industry in Hollywood and any type of entertainment is we've had the moral compass of right and wrong. We are now living in a society with Hollywood the moral compass is now my activism, and my activism is a right or wrong. It is a preaching, and that doesn't teach you anything through life. It's the same thing we're dealing with kids that don't understand what criticism is not racism, or criticism isn't bad. Criticism is a way to make you grow. A failure is still a success because you learn from them. The same way, if you're always successful, you're never going to learn failure, and that is a failure. And we're switching from a moral compass to bestest ever, and the world and humanity in itself is not the bestest ever. If we never fail, we never learn from our mistakes, and that's what's happening right now in Hollywood. It is a repetitive cycle of failures because no one wants to step outside of the box and not touch a remake and just make.
Yeah, I agree.
He's right.
I need to stop reading books. I sound intelligent.
I stopped working for WDW.
Yeah,
no, that's not going to happen. Never. Sorry.
You've been hanging around with WDW and
Valiant
too much.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, look. I will say this. There is a real opportunity for James Gunn and Warner Brothers to do something with Superman. Now, are they going to be successful? Don't know.
Don't know, but we're terrified.
You know, there's always room for doing something. But again, he's still got 2 years. Now, he and Bob Iger both are under the gun a little bit. Ha ha ha! No pun intended. I mean, both of them.
Iger more so, though, Keith.
Yes, Iger more so because again, he's got a 2-year contract. He's got to find a replacement so he can get his butt out of there. You know, Gunn's the same way. Although Gunn might be there a little longer, depending on how much longer the writer's strike lasts.
But Keith, you just brought up a brilliant point. This came when you said that. What I think is happening is that you know how they're spending so much money on these films, and we're wondering why. I don't think all the money is going towards those films. I think they're actually opening up a cloning facility underneath Disney World, and Bob Iger is actually cloning a younger version of himself to run the company more into the ground.
Good point. That there's always that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, more power to him. I just don't think they have that kind of time.
No.
I as every day passes, I think the shareholders are just getting, well, not just, I think it's a level of frustration that is just going to start boiling over.
Disney stock right now is $89.28.
Oh God. Oh God. Oh geez.
That's low, right?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh geez.
I feel like I depressed the whole thing, man. But though, good news. I'm excited for the 4K Blu-ray for Babylon 5.
Oh yes.
For that.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 16 has been better storytelling than close to Game of Thrones.
Ultra 4K and SD.
Yeah. Small dick. That's it. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to come in all being all negative. So I do apologize to anyone listening out there. It's just
well,
thoughts.
They're gonna come at Iger. Iger's gonna throw Kathleen Kennedy under the bus to try and stave off the.
Well, he's been staging that. If you pay attention to.
Oh yeah. The whole thing about the article in Forbes. Yeah.
That was a preface to what's to come.
Yep.
This is just, again, they should just cut. Oh, geez. You got to fix this. They got to un-F this situation right now. And if you're someone that owns Disney stock, all I can say is, just a little more time. Just give them a little more time. Now, I'm not actually going to sit here and say that Iger is going to be able to magically fix everything in the time that he has left, but I believe he is trying to do something. Will he be successful? That's a question.
All eyes are on Universal. All eyes are on the NCU, as much as that's not the saving grace. But it's at the point now that everyone's running out of franchises. And no offense, anime live actions will not hold over society. I think what will happen is eventually someone's going to come in and we're going to dive back into the 80s, and we're going to get 80s action stars if we're allowed. And it could be both male and female. We need to go back to the cheesy horror beat camp stuff. It needs to fall back. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when you reach the top of the mountain and eventually it just topples over because of erosion, that's the point we need to get to. Everyone's done. Everyone's tired. Everyone's exhausted. And I think that's what they're trying to do. Beat the crap out of you till you're so freaking exhausted that the escapism you once held on to is no longer viable, and you can't find it anymore. So when little tidbits come out that's just good enough, air quotes, it's like breadcrumbs. Picture James Wood with the piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. That's how Hollywood's doing it right now. It's like WEF, but for Hollywood.
But Steven, this also goes to something that some of us have known for a while. There are a lot of people, many of them producers, many of them directors, writers, even quite a few critics. They are completely done with the nerds. They're done with it. They're done with all of it. And they want to see it go. This could be some kind of a plan to just basically do all that. get the audiences so fed up with this stuff that they will eagerly
They're turned off of it.
embrace.
And then you hear things like this. This bugs me when I hear people I respect and admire, that's in our network, saying things like superhero fatigue. There is no such thing as superhero fatigue. If you do good superhero films, they will keep watching.
That's right.
And the problem is there's a bad filmmaking fatigue.
That's right.
Exactly.
How about there is
There's nothing to do with the genre.
How about there is a current superhero fatigue because of the stuff that's out there? The current
It's the same thing.
fatigue. Okay. All right.
It's the same thing. It's the only reason why the fatigue exists is because it's not good. It's not because of the genre. It has nothing to do with the genre.
That's right. The genre, to say it's the genre is ludicrous. It's not the genre at all. It's the people that are making this stuff that have absolutely no idea, first and foremost, of what they're doing as far as having respect to the source material. It's a complete inverse of how we got here. If you look at all the movies that got us to this point, and you talk to all the writers, all the directors, they're all fans. All of the people who are currently working right now are not. That is it right there. That shows you right there what we're dealing with. This is a manufactured apocalypse, or in this case, a manufactured situation. The more I think about it, the more I think there's a distinct possibility they could be just moving everything along, trying to really just rid themselves of all of this stuff.
You want to know what I find funny? Have you guys been? This is kind of related. Have you guys followed the whole thing going on with Google's report that came out that they have broken their standards and guidelines up to 80% when it comes to advertising?
Really?
And some of those customers include Johnson & Johnson and Disney. So imagine Disney going after Google to get their money back for advertising just to repay the debts from the failure of films.
That is interesting.
Wow, this is a
by
high.
the way, we have a couple of new people here. I do want to
Sorry
point
about
this out. We have Sander Hammerslag. I've never seen that name.
Oh, he's on Meet a lot. You can see him in the chat. He's a good dude.
Welcome to the show. And by the way, I see Kocho is here. Kocho Dragon. Hammerslag said this. I want to go back to it. Indiana Jones and the Enema of Entertainment. I like that.
Yeah, but enemas actually have a process. What's the word? They're useful.
Snortopus brings out, and Vinkmans also brings it up. Seal clappers. These are people who just like, did you do it? Whatever.
God, that Guardians fight scene in the.
I like clapping seals. They're easier to hunt. And Shanatsky says the great line from Kirk: "Let them die," as Kirk said. When Spock's trying to say the Klingons are about to go extinct, let them die.
This is really just. This is definitely, this entire period here is definitely going to get taught in business classes, entertainment classes of what not to do. What you're seeing Disney do, what you've seen, Amazon do, what you've seen Kurtzman and CBS do. It's not how you do this. It's stupidity on steroids. Full-on stupidity on steroids.
Yep. You're getting no argument from me, my friend. Yes. We are down to the last 2 minutes here. So let's do a little wrap up here, which is Marvel is shooting itself in the foot so many times. Is there going to be a point where they can't walk away? 2, is Kathleen Kennedy shot herself in the foot enough now to where she could be dragged away? This is where we're at. I know that Doomcock, Cameron Pasha, WW Pro, what's his name?
VR.
Well, Valiant Renegade, and he was just on today. Help me out here, Steven. I'm sure you did the graphics. No, hold on. Do I still have the graphic? I might have the graphic to save the day. Yes, here it is. Here it is. It is
Jonas Campbell.
J. Campbell.
Jonas.
Yeah, I already got it before you.
Yeah,
so
two of
fuck
those
off.
avatars I designed. That's great.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's really good, buddy. I'm teasing you. I can't help it. It's my nature to tease.
I will give you one thing as a graphic artist that I would love to know. I can't believe I have to say that, and that's my title now. I will be so happy when KK and Indie News die down. As much as I love doing thumbnails, I'm running out of images to use. There's so many faces of KK.
Also, how often can you stand looking at her? That's
I literally have to duct tape my balls to the other side of my ass just so I don't have to worry about moving out of horror.
That's like that guy that had to donate foreskin to his kid so his kid could have eyelids, because it's the closest skin on the human body to the skin that's on the eyelid. And when he came out of surgery, he's like asking how his son was doing, and the wife says he's doing pretty good. He's a little cockeyed.
That's a ballsy move.
See, that's it. I got this, all this stuff with this stuff is a perfect distraction for me as well, because if you guys are watching what's going on with Canada passing all these crazy bills, Google, Facebook, and they're all like saying, "Okay, we're just going to."
You have an insane leader.
He's not my leader. My leaders are intelligent. They're pulling all of Canadian news broadcast off all social media platforms because of these bills being passed, and now the UK is trying to pull something like that. I think too, right? So it's,
I feel bad for you guys right now. They're in Canada land. It's bad. Kathleen Kennedy says she is out for a 2-week on holiday. Yeah, because basically her email's been pinging, but it's not deleted. Whereas what's her name? Her Headland's email was completely deleted. It was scrubbed. So I don't think she's gone. I think she just turned off her email. That's it. We'll find out more, but I don't know how she can survive this. I don't know how. This makes no sense. We've seen executives in Hollywood lose jobs for smaller infractions in box office. Robert Evans, one of the greatest executives in the history of Hollywood, was constantly being threatened with being fired. Constantly. Greatest executive. He ran I just forgot the studio. It was Fox. Paramount. He ran Paramount. And created The Godfather, Love Story. So many freaking amazing Oscar-winning films. And they were constantly threatening to fire him. And Kennedy, one failure after another. Lucasfilm has yet to see black in their money. They have been in the red from day one since the purchase in 2012.
Well, the embarrassing thing is that she has a lot more experience than Kevin Feige. She should know better. All of the problems they've had, all of the money, first and foremost, from just having to reshoot entire films.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
Is wasteful.
By the way, Chinatown is one of my favorite films of all time. Evans, by the way, Jim Woodward, been on the show. His sister was married to Robert Evans. She's his widow. It's so weird. I'm 1 degree of separation from Robert Evans.
Kid notorious.
It's but I got to tell you, of all of the celebrities that she dated, she was a what do you call it? A model, world model that traveled the world, was in Elle magazine. Was when she brought Dolph Lundgren home. And like I get there and I'm told I can't ask him any questions about Masters of the Universe. I'm like, but why? That's the only reason I came to dinner. So, but I still found a way to ask him because he brought up going to acting school in New York. And I said, "Oh, did you use method with Masters of the Universe?"
Wow.
Jim Woodward kicked me under the table with his combat boot really hard. Which Dolph Lundgren thought was funny. He never fully answered me, but he did laugh. He laughed really hard at my pain. But we're at the end of the show. Don't forget to comment and leave feedback for Al Gore. Yes, the algorithms are really important. If you don't, I'm telling you, if you don't do it, it will cause holes in the ozone. So please do subscribe and leave a like and leave a comment. But gender focus. What the fuck is Figman's girl cracks me up. But my gender focus. Oh my God. Fun episode. I didn't think it was going to be a fun day because, we lost Gary this week. It's really rough. Really rough. I don't get emotional over death. I really don't. But I got emotional over Gary, man. He was really just a guy that we loved. He's part of our life and gone now. That's so many. We've lost 5 friends total since 2013.
Yeah.
That died too soon. One of them, of course, to suicide.
Self-delete, careful.
What's that?
Self-delete. YouTube might hit you.
Oh, if they do, they do. It's just, we lost him, and he was a good friend of ours, and I love the guy. I was working with him on his film when he died. We had just had a meeting 1 week before, not even a full week. It was 5 days, a work week. And then I get a phone call. And then, of course, we lost Brandon, and we lost, I just forgot his name. Oh, my God. David.
Could have missed him so much, I don't know his name no more.
Last time I saw David, I gave him a big old hug and a smooch on the cheek. Last time I saw him.
I really do miss David. David was really one of the nicest people.
Yeah.
And we lost Julian Sands back in February.
Yeah.
I predicted if they didn't hear from him after a few days, I'm like, he didn't make it. There's no surviving out there, not in that climate. But they knew it too. The brother knew it. His brother knew it. But we finally got confirmation. We lost him. And so that was this week. And then, of course, we lost the wonderful Alan Arkin. And
we're really way over.
I don't care. But we will end the show here. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Keith, thanks for being here, buddy. Fat Steven, thanks for showing up, man. I appreciate it. Great comments, Steven. Martin, wonderful job today. Deleted scenes, thanks for being here, buddy. Nothing, Martin. You got nothing to say. And John, you are here, right, John?
Yeah,
John?
I'm here.
Okay, you're here.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
He's like, is this joke ever going to end? No, it's never going to end, John. We're going to do this until we're all dead.
Whoa.
And this show is brought to you by WDW Pro, Valiant Renegade, and Jonas J. Campbell. Go watch that video they put out today, guys. It's
Which
really
one?
good. Well, Doomcock put one out with Cameron about Kennedy, and that's what this one's about. It's the one they put out.
Oh, is that calls for resign?
Yeah, it's like that she is fired. Is she fired? And the fact is, I don't think she is. I think she's just turned her shit off because she knows that everybody hates her right now.
We're overdue.
So, boom. See you guys tomorrow.
And don't forget
for Tom and Jerry. Boogie.
And don't forget
Indiana Jones.
Sorry.
Okay, Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark, or as we just call it, Raiders of the Lost Ark. That will be tomorrow. And what were you going to say, Stephen?
Don't forget, if you're a up-and-coming content creator, try other platforms besides YouTube. Get your voice heard. Rumble's kicking ass. Yes, it is.
If they could only figure out how to stay stable. It's very
pretty stable for me. They've done a lot of great updates.
We've had all kinds of problems.
What are you doing wrong?
Nothing. We're logged in, everything, and it'll just like in the middle of the show, you'll get an alert. Stop working. Anyway, gotta go. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Those sons of bitches.
Ma, I'm doing a show.